Hey, Curtis.
Hey Oz.
What's this week's movie about?
This week's movie is about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, plus the coal miner's daughter, and a whole lot of Zoolander. This week we're talking about My Bloody Valentine.
It's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, we were talking pre-show. I literally just threw one into I wasn't happy with my movie marriage, and I had one pop in my head. It was the coal miner's daughter.
Coal miner's daughter.
Yeah, that one
that's perfect.
Yes, I had the St. Valentine's Day Massacre and Zoolander. My original punchline was going to be funded by the Nova Scotian Tourist Bureau,
Gotcha.
but I was a little I need a third. Oh, coal miner! There we go.
Yeah. So, welcome back, listeners, viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme and we satisfy it with a weekly edition. This week, we're talking about My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Your pick. It is holiday horror month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, last week was April Fool's Day, and this week is My Bloody Valentine. The key here, if you haven't figured it out, is each week is going to be a different holiday-themed horror, not all Christmas horror.
Yes, it's not the holidays, it is a holiday.
A holiday. So, My Bloody Valentine, a movie that we both enjoy, we both appreciate. At least for me, I think it's very underrated, very underseen.
Yes, I agree. I know Tarantino cites this as his favorite slasher movie.
Yeah, and it's definitely one that I can understand where the legs were kind of kicked out from under it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we mentioned a little bit last week that, with it coming out shortly around the time of John Lennon's assassination,
the
the
MPAA got involved, and not showing that. Not showing that.
So this movie had its wings clipped, which then, of course, it just in 1981, it's killing your momentum.
Yeah,
because in 1981 we haven't hit the home video boom yet. Mm-hmm. So it's
early stages of that, yeah,
very early. But it's like you're either watching it in theaters or you're probably not watching it.
Yeah. And
so this movie at that time didn't have legs, but of course now with VHS moving to DVD, moving to Blu-ray, etc., and then everybody scraping the bottom of the barrel for any extra footage they can find, you can watch this in its originally intended format, the director's cut. I like how they did it, even though you could definitely tell what parts were the deleted scenes.
Yes.
But
I don't know if I've seen the extra footage before this time around.
No. I've seen this movie. I know you have as well, but
yeah.
But it's funny because you could tell that it was shot as a finished film.
Yes.
It wasn't just like I left it on the cutting room floor. Like it was polished. So it was nice because when these deleted scenes were added back in, everything just flows. Like other than just you see it going from polished film to grainy film, but whatever.
Yeah, not quite as slick. It still works though.
Yeah. I kind of liked it because as a film fan, it showed me what parts were cut. Like it was very evident. Sometimes you watch a movie like director's cut with 12 minutes of additional footage and you can't find the 12 minutes.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times it was pointless 12 minutes, like 45 seconds there, 30 seconds here. Look at Legolas and all of those extra arrows, like which is cool, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, for those of us who are professional cinematic academics, we appreciate seeing that.
Yeah, that's you and your friends. You said us, but I'm not included in the us.
That's
true. All right, your movie this week, and
let's give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, let's do that. All thrown off here. Patreon subscribers, thank you once again for your patronage. We're talking to you, Don S., Aaron A., Mandy K., Melissa L., Colleen K., and Lyle M. Mm-hmm. Without you, this should be 15.
I'm nothing.
Well, you literally are nothing.
No,
which means the show would be nothing.
Yeah, I would Back to the Future just fade away from the picture and cease to exist.
But otherwise, if you guys weren't patrons, we would just shave off 15 to 30 seconds of each episode. So, potato. So. Yes. Your movie, so I got the cast this week.
Yeah, who's in this flick?
Nobody of importance. There's no that guy or her or whatever. It's just a bunch of people that are in a horror film together, and I think they'll do a fine job. But we're talking to Paul Kellman as T.J. Hanniger.
Mm-hmm.
He's your run away from home but come back with his tail between his legs kind of guy.
Did they ever say, because again, this is all set in Nova Scotia of all places.
Yeah.
They said he went to the West Coast. Did they ever indicate what he was trying to do in the West Coast?
Or which country's West Coast?
I was just thinking that. Did he go to British Columbia?
Yeah, like West Coast Canada and West Coast America are two different vibes. Like, I went to Venice Beach and I just couldn't make it. Took the 405 to Mulholland.
What are you doing?
That's all he got out of it, was he just learned the road maps of SoCal.
As opposed to going to like the Aleutian Islands in Alaska.
I went, not a lot there.
Some Kodiak bears and some salmon.
So TJ Hanniger, apparently they all work in the Hanniger mines. It must be the town of Hanniger. Like, what are you running from, dude? The town's literally yours. We have his former flame, Lori Hallier, as Sarah Mercer.
Mm-hmm. I think that's Ron's sister.
I think it is Ron Mercer's sister.
Ron Mercer's sister.
And so, and while TJ's gone, Sarah cozies up with TJ's former best friend, Neil Affleck, as Alex Palmer. I don't think he's a member of the Affleck family.
No.
So.
He was. Yeah, Axel was striking while the iron was hot.
Yeah. It didn't really. I don't remember how long TJ was gone, but like Sarah loved him, and he bailed without really any notice. And Axel's basically played the "Come here, babe. I'll keep your bed warm."
Sorry, babe. I'm going to Vancouver.
Sorry.
Maybe he just went to West Coast Nova Scotia.
He may have, yeah. Like they live on a lake, and he just went to the other side of the lake.
This was in north central Nova Scotia. He just went to the West Coast Nova Scotia.
Right. Just moved across the tracks.
Go to Prince Edward Island.
That's right.
This movie's going to be chock full of Canadian geography jokes.
Newfoundland. They opened a new Tim Hortons, and they're looking for a shift manager. Sorry.
They make a good bagel sandwich at Tim Hortons.
So it's like, you ever heard of poutine? They got it on the West Coast.
They have that here too.
Yeah. And honestly, it's really the movie's about those three.
It really is.
You've got Patty, you've got a police chief, you've got a bunch of other friends.
Yeah.
You got the mayor, who's also TJ's dad.
Yeah.
And Mabel, sweet Mabel.
Oh, poor Mabel.
Runs a laundromat and just decorates the town with her.
Decorates a laundromat. She's just such.
Yeah, she's got a lot of paper.
She does. Keeps the construction paper industry in the black.
And so it's really hard to go into much detail about the cast because again there's no one of note.
Yeah.
And this movie's really about three characters: TJ, Sarah, and Axel.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like My Bloody Romance, that's the name of the movie. It's a straight horror film, but there are a lot of parts of this where it like almost feels like a romance drama first.
Yeah.
Because it's like they really put a lot of energy into this love triangle.
Yeah, you beat me to the phrase. It really is a love triangle. I was debating on throwing like a movie with a love triangle into the movie Marriage. I decided not.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think you nailed your movie Marriage. So Coal Miner's Daughter, Zoolander. So that's it for the cast. Like I said, the characters mean something, but the actors playing them they're just there. Like which is pretty standard for early 80s horror films. Honestly, like I mean, it's the reason why we highlight people like a Jamie Lee Curtis is because they grew into something else. Like so many other actors of this era are just like them from that movie. Mm-hmm. You'll get an Olivia Hussey who was popular before Black Christmas, or a Margot Kidder, or but other than that, it's not many of them break the mold. So
it's funny you mentioned that movie there, my friend.
I know. Well, little hint. Anyway,
that's what we call a teaser in the industry.
in the industry. So
in the
all right.
industry, thumbs under my suspenders. I've been breaking into Foghorn Leghorn a lot lately.
You make a good Foghorn Leghorn.
I say.
He had some red on his. He has red on his face. So you got red on your face. So
he got red on you. Let's get into the thick, juicy plot.
Yeah. Go for it.
We open. This is a fun opening.
Yeah.
We open on two miners going deep into a mine, and they're in full miner uniform and regalia and masks and everything.
Right. Cape and scepters and
yes, exactly.
Just jumpsuit and mask is really what you mean.
Yeah. And so as I put for some reason I put this in all caps, a lady miner.
Ooh, a lady.
Starts sexily removing her miner suit. And as their breathing picks up, like the male miner had put his pickaxe, he like kind of drove it into the wall behind her.
Right.
And so things start to get hot and steamy down in this mine, Oz.
Yeah. Lady.
And as things are starting to pick up, I think he sees like a tattoo on her.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Yeah,
no,
you know the movie a little better than I do.
Yeah, she's just got a tattoo like above her breast, much like a person would get like a Rolling Stones tattoo. You know, just it's nothing too overly graphic, just there. But just just a heart tattoo.
But the guy sees this, and it's something spooks him, and he takes her and shoves her back. Onto the pick that's the two-sided pick that's stuck in the wall, and so it just drives it right through her chest cavity. I don't even think we're to the opening title scene. No, this is we're seconds into the movie.
And so what I love about this is not only the violence because it's there, but that effect of driving that pickaxe through her, but it didn't break the skin on the other side. And that's what I really like is coming out front. It just kind of like pushed the skin up, like almost tearing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that effect was harder than just taking an end of a pickaxe and attaching it to her and putting some blood around it. I'm like, oh, good for you. So this movie does that a lot of like, hey, you know what?
Fun effects in this movie.
A lot of fun effects. Yeah. And so, and then like you said, we're just, there it is, title. There it is. My Bloody Valentine.
And then we get the title card. Again, and then we get the cut to Thursday, February 12th. Several miners exit a mine. There's a big group shower, complete with towel whipping. I love it.
Yeah, I even read in the trivia. I'm sure you did too. That like all of these guys were fully nude.
Yeah,
like even though they didn't,
all shot from the waist up.
Yeah, they didn't need to be, but they're like, well, win in Rome.
Well, I mean, hey, these actors committing to the bits. Good for you.
Yeah, I don't have pants on right now either.
Well, I mean that's why we're shooting from the waist up here.
I'm
just wearing my Macho Man cream of the crap holiday sweater. Oh yeah!
Let me tell you, Gene,
nobody does it better.
I do. I love Macho Man. He's my favorite. Like as I've aged out of that, Hulk Hogan's the best. Like no.
Macho Man. Yeah.
Was he perfect? No. He did some pretty awful things, but
Yeah. But I recently watched a little documentary on his Macho Man's Intercontinental Championship bout against Ricky Steamboat in WrestleMania 3, and just how amazing that match was.
That's one of my favorite matches of all time to watch. Yeah. Just that match was just simply amazing.
They most wrestling matches, there's a couple choreographed spots, but most of it is just called by the pros in the ring.
Right.
And that one was entirely scripted. Like Macho Man and Steamboat sat down and it came up with like a 250 point, like just series of moves. And they would quiz each other. What's 168? Like it was nuts.
And
but they nailed it.
Yeah. You knew Macho Man could do it because his brother, I mean, he comes from a line of very smart people. His brother is a genius.
The genius. The genius. Was it Randy Poffo or no?
Lonnie.
Lonnie Poffo.
Lonnie, that's right.
Lonnie. Because Randy was Macho Man. That's right.
That was the dupe. I'm not Randy. He's Randy. It's like slap shot.
Multiplicity. Copies of a copy.
That's right.
And so again, they're all taking this big group shower. Just got out of the mine, washing all the soot off, and get some towel whipping. The town's name is Valentine Bluff. So they all head back into town. They give TJ a hard time because he's back in town, and Sarah's going out with Axel. Oh no!
And it's
triangle.
But it feels like we should care. Like they really they were tender enough with this, and everybody has emotions and feelings.
Yeah.
That like you really are like, oh no.
I don't know how they pulled it off for this movie, honestly, but this was a really good script.
Yeah.
And they did just enough character work to actually make you care about this love triangle.
You honestly, you cared about all of them. Even just the goofball minor friends. You're just like, those guys are cool, you know?
Hollis, the 21-year-old who looks like he's going on 76.
Because dad's a walrus.
I could have put Tusk into my
exactly
into my movie.
Yeah, but you know what? Like he was in a relationship with a hottie, so good for you.
Yeah,
like
I was.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I kind of want to hang out with all these guys.
as they're like running their cars and doing their like 19, 20-year-old like woo-ha, let's run back to town. There's this like really fun, like kind of like Southern hillbilly music that's playing.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so fun.
It is
such
just
a great beginning.
Fun movie.
Yeah. They arrive to this kind of like this town, like there's kind of a dance hall, like kind of a rec center in town.
Yeah.
Several women are there, including Mabel, poor Mabel, setting up for the first Valentine's Day dance in 20 years that the town is holding. Although the mayor is reluctant to promote that it's the first in 20 years. Right. And you hear him say, I love like they just drop these little nuggets in this movie. Let's leave all that other business to rest. The mayor says. So clearly he's nervous about this dance, and he keeps referencing things like something happened in the past because they haven't had this dance in 20 years. What could that something be? Let's see. The mayor expositions that his son TJ, quote unquote, couldn't make it on the West Coast and is back in town working at the local coal mine again.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it in Juneau, Alaska.
Idiot. Loser couldn't pass the time in Fairbanks.
Stupid. No son of mine.
What's wrong, Vancouver? Too much for you?
So as the chief of police drives the mayor home, I do really like the dynamic between these two characters.
I do too.
So the chief of police is driving the mayor home. The mayor opens a Valentine's box for him, just a classic heart-shaped candy box. And inside is a bloody human heart.
Yes. And he's like, oh, God. Oh, no.
It can't be happening again.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm so sorry this happened to her.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Run down to the tea hose.
What kind of hoser did this?
Yes. You go get my hokey stick. Oh, God, this is going to be such a fun but terrible episode for us.
Well, luckily, I just looked at our our Spotify Wrapped, and I don't think we have many Canadian listeners, so we're all right.
Sorry, Canadians.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Later in a bar, Axel and Hollis are playing that like knife hand thing.
Yeah,
where you put your hand.
That they did in Aliens.
The Bishop does in Aliens, and let's see, they're doing the knife hand thing. Old man bartender Happy is talking
I love his name.
The town being cursed. It's cursed.
He's like the Ralph from the Friday the 13th, the first couple Friday the 13th movies. Mm-hmm. He's just that harbinger.
Yeah.
But only Ralph in the Friday the 13th movies just rides his bike around spouting this harbinger doom whenever he can. This bartender's having to pour drinks while he's at it.
He's got to work while he's doing it. He can't just be a harbinger.
Can I get a Molson? You're doomed.
Molson. Harbinging doesn't pay as well as it used to.
No. And then they all call him Happy.
Yeah. It's ironic, and
Yeah.
it's meant to hurt his feelings.
And he goes home and he cries, and he pays the bills, though.
There's nothing happy about Happy the Harbinger.
Seems like a Simpsons character.
Happy Harbinger.
Happy the Harbinger.
Happy the Harbinger. He lives in the apartment next to the sea captain.
He's married to Debbie Downer.
We then flash back 20 years, Oz. We see we find out a supervisor has left 5 miners in the mine, failing to check the methane levels, and there's this huge explosion, and all 5 were buried alive. As the town continued its Valentine's party, so these 5 guys in the past were buried alive. 6 weeks later, yes.
Just like the miners are down there all bummed out, like, oh no, we're missing the party.
We're missing the party.
What's Stacy gonna do?
I hope there's some poutine left.
Because they're all just super polite about it, like, oh no.
Oh shucks.
It'd be nice to get found, but I don't want them to leave the party.
Yeah, you don't want them to not have a good time.
Maybe they'll find us tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Methane levels getting high, fellas.
I'm getting hungry.
So speaking of 6 weeks later, one of the 5 is found alive, and we get this great close up and pan back of Harry Warden. That's the name of the survivor, just screaming. It's just
surprise.
Yeah. Like the camera surprised him.
It's like a raccoon, like a possum in the middle of the night.
So he ended up surviving via cannibalism. He was in a mental hospital, and a year later he ended up killing all the mine supervisors, cut out their hearts, stuffed them in heart-shaped candy boxes, and left a note never to hold another Valentine's Day dance again, or else.
Yeah, I think Footloose was a loose remake of this movie.
very loose. Very loose remake, yeah. So, of course, back to present day, the sheriff and the mayor, they deduce Harry Warden is back in town. Right. It's all the same shtick, right?
Because 20 years ago, they were part of the crew that found him.
Yeah.
So, they're like, it has to be Harry.
It's got to be Harry. Right. They even call up the mental institute that he was committed to, and he's not there anymore.
Right. They have no record of him.
Yeah.
Like, what? We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
As they're going through like a card catalog and
Dewey Decimal System.
Exactly.
Well, he either checked out Judy Blume or he's not here. Not sure which.
So Warden, would that be that's near Western? So
big Boxcar Children fan.
Don't say Western. TJ can't handle the West.
No.
Not the West.
Oh, not the West. Not Newfoundland.
No. We're such jerks.
Canadians, we love you. You have a great country.
Do.
I'm actually very envious of you in a lot of ways right
We
now.
hope you have a great sense of humor if you're listening to this episode.
And whether or not you put the you in humor or not, we appreciate it. Yeah. Later, we get a really sweet POV shot of the killer stalking Mabel as she's decorating her laundromat. Oz, I've never seen a livelier, more festive laundromat than Mabel's laundromat.
Especially with no one there but the owner.
Yeah, it's just her.
Right,
it's just her in a bank of washers and dryers.
Nobody's doing any laundry, but she's like, I love cutting out hearts. I love hanging up streamers.
Got crepe paper. Right. And she's just having the time of her life decorating.
She stores it in the dryers.
Yeah, clearly nobody else is using them.
Right. So here's a town of 500 people. She's got like 7 industrial grade dryers,
like a huge Maytag laundromat.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I could wash the whole county, the whole province.
Province. They spilled Tim Hortons on my smock, and I got to dry it in the dryer. So she's decorated her laundromat, and she sees someone had left her a heart-shaped box of candy.
Yeah.
She opens it up, and there's a note inside, Oz, and the note reads, "Roses are red, violets are blue. One is dead, and so are you."
Yeah. It's a good thing she read it then.
Yep. The lights then flip off, and the killer emerges in a mining mask and kills her with a mining axe, Oz.
Yes. Just kind of stalks her through her little, and she does honestly what any person of her age would probably do. Just kind of backs up and like, because I mean, she's kind of an octogenarian. You know, she's not going to run away.
Yeah. She's probably in her 60s, maybe even 70s. Yeah. So TJ confronts Axel about Sarah. We're back to the love triangle. Axel walks away from a fight. TJ is just upset with himself over everything. Like he's just not happy. He's he couldn't cut it in Anchorage, and he's back.
Exactly. Yeah.
The chief ends up finding several upside down paper hearts in Mabel's laundromat,
right?
And he's walking around like just sniffing. It's something smells off, and he finds a mutilated Mabel stuffed in a dryer with a note telling them to cancel the dance.
Right, as the dryer is still running, and she's like tumble drying. It's that extra little attention, that extra little effort. Her just like falling backward, falling backwards out of the dryer, and you see her head dangling there. That would have been like, oh, okay. But to let the dryer continue running and let her body just rotate through is like, oh, that's just, I love it. Like, it's just cranking it to 11.
It's a good thing the killer put in a bounty sheet. She came out spring.
How many quarters he had to pop in there, because she was spinning until the next day.
He had come back several times.
It just keeps popping quarters in.
Man, I hope that she finds her soon.
I hope somebody gets here. I'm going broke.
Shouldn't have put the fabric softener in. He's putting the quarters on the machine like how you used to do at the arcade.
He's saving it. Yeah.
I got next to Gallagher.
Yeah, right. Thankfully, no one else came in, and he actually felt bad because he didn't intend her to be that dry.
she was. There's no wrinkles left there.
Right.
So the mayor and the chief canceled the dance. And there's going to be no parties out of respect to Mabel, who wink had a heart attack.
Yeah,
that's the story to the public. Later, TJ takes Sarah to some special place. It's like a little pond or something. Confesses his love, apologizes, and they actually share a passionate kiss together. So, love triangle's heating up, Oz. That night, the gang decides to have a party at the mine. They can't do it in town, but we're going to have our own party, and we're going to do it at the mine. There's like a rec room there that they use. That has a kitchen in the back. So Happy somehow catches wind of this, I think, and he decides, because they decided they were at the bar when they decided to do it. So Happy overheard him, and so Happy decides to show them. I'm going to show those kids.
Well, they don't invite him.
I love this. I love this scene so much.
Oh yeah,
he decides to show them up. So he's going to set up a gag to scare those kids. So he takes a pickaxe,
like a Harry Warden gag. Like really,
exactly. And he like rigs it up so that when somebody opens the door, the axe kind of like springs up.
And it does it several times.
Yeah. That, by the way, that might come up later.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So after opening and closing the door with many times.
Yeah, he's just really enjoying this gag. Got me again.
The killer shows up and pickaxes him up through the jaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
and out the eye socket.
Yes. So he takes the pickaxe and swings it up at an upward angle, goes up through like his mandible.
Yeah.
And the pick comes out of his eye, pushes his eyeball out. Oh, it's so great.
And pretty close, like a pretty close detailed shot of it.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, so brutal.
I just put all caps sweet in my notes.
Well, it's like there is a ton of brutal violence in this, but there's not a lot of blood.
No.
So it's not like your torture porn kind of thing. Yeah. It's just brutal killings, but they're creative in the gore, not so much creative in the kill, but just creative.
For that era too.
Yeah.
So title card Saturday, February 14th. It's Valentine's Day, Oz. So the kids,
which sucks because so much happened on Friday the 13th.
I know, right? So the kids arrive at the mine for the party. Dave, I was having trouble keeping up with the names here, but
yeah, the outside of TJ and Axel,
yeah,
and Hollis, the rest of them were
yeah.
who?
So Dave goes to the kitchen to check. They're boiling some wieners. They got some hot dogs boiling. What better way to have a party at the mine than a pot of boiling wieners?
Who
So
brought the hot dogs?
he goes to check on him, and the killer is there. Grabs him by the back of the head, shoves his face into the boiling water, and we get a great shot, like an upshot through the bottom of,
right,
as if the bottom was glass. Up from the bottom of the pot of boiling water, and his face is all scalded.
Yeah,
And he drowns him while he's in this pot. It's not just water; it's boiling water.
and
So,
it's like, okay, we've seen people get swirlies and stuff, like, but again, the extra tension of we're gonna do this upshot, we're gonna drown him, we're gonna show him from through the water. Throw some hot dogs in there. Like, you see the hot dogs bouncing off of his boiling face. And it's like you didn't forget that this is hot dog water.
There's hot dogs in there.
I do. I just love it.
He snags one with his mouth.
He's like bobbing.
If I'm gonna go out, I'm taking this Frankfurter with me.
I'm going out. I'm not going out hungry.
So back at the police station, the chief finds another bloody heart-shaped candy box being fought over by dogs outside, and the note in the box says, "You didn't stop the party." So now the chief is onto it. What's going on? The kids are defying orders. They're sullying Mabel's good name.
Right. We told them no. All of these adult children, we told them no.
Exactly. So back at the party, Axel is aggressively trying to kiss Sarah. TJ says that she wants me back. Sarah yells at both of them, and Axel just decks TJ.
Yeah.
Hollis breaks him up. 76-year-old Hollis steps in.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Before he aged.
Yeah, exactly. Axel ends up storming out, and TJ has Sarah just walk away from him. So back inside, a couple other kind of nothing characters. Sylvia is making out with John, so they had kind of snuck off to this sort of facility where they keep the mining outfits, the mining gear and whatnot, and really creepy location. So all these mining outfits, like these like sort of jumpers, are just like hanging from lines across the top, like to dry out and air out and things like that. So they're 5-6 feet off the ground. And she sends him to go get beer. And so as John is gone, the killer starts turning on all the showers and starts dropping all these dozens of mining suits on her from above. And she's just terrified.
Oh, you would be.
Yeah. So just absolutely terrified. Happy's body drops in front of her.
Yeah.
Then the masked killer, again in the same mining outfit and mask, grabs her by the sides of the face, brings her into the shower, lifts her up by the face, and impales her through the back of the head, on a shower head.
Yes, one without. It's like the pipe without the shower head.
Yes, yeah.
So just water coming out of it.
Made better with mowing. It's Moen's new spear-shaped line of shower heads.
Build it for looks, build it for life.
There you go. So later, John comes back. Got the beer, and comes across her body in the shower. And there's, of course, and you don't see it full on. They did just a clever enough shot of showing you just enough. But there's water because her mouth is open. Yeah,
he's impaled her.
Yeah,
from the back, like you said, from the back of the head,
just gushing out of her mouth. Water and blood mixed together.
Yeah,
and of course he's just trying to make sense of what he's seeing, and just petrified, runs back. In the meantime, Patty convinces Hollis to take her, Sarah, and 3 others into the mine.
Yeah,
against TJ's protest. So they had just missed this as this is happening. So there's just chaos going on back at the party.
Right.
As the other main characters go off into the mine to go explore. So in the kitchen, a few girls find Dave's heart in the pot of boiling waters, and they later find his body stuffed in the refrigerator.
Yeah, they just kind of it's kind of a cool scene. They laugh off the heart. It's like, oh, and then one of them, it's when he goes to get the beer while his girlfriend is like strung up.
That's right. Yeah.
So like he's talking to them as he opens the door to grab a beer. We see Dave's body, like, or his like, he's headless. Like, just his head is in the fridge, all boiled and like skin peeling off, and nobody sees it but us. Again, just really good with camera angles too. Like, instead of just like, oh, it's scary, here's a Dutch angle. Like, no, you're like, you really paid it. I'm really impressed with this movie.
There's a lot of Canadian angles this movie as opposed to Dutch angles.
They're smart. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's French Canadian angles in this
French
film.
Canadian. It is closer to Quebec, I guess. Nova Scotia. Yeah.
Jacques Renault is really had a part in the filming of this.
I think Marquise Grissom, was the director of photography.
Marquise Grissom. I think you're right.
Yeah, he was involved with this movie. He was best boy.
Yeah. Marquise Grissom. I think Otis Nixon was an expo at one point.
Yeah, he was. Oh, do you remember the 1994, the year that the baseball strike happened and the season just stopped halfway through? That was when Frank Thomas was on pace to have like 400 RBIs that season.
Yeah, he was lighting it up. The big hurt.
And I bring that up because that Expos team in 94 was stacked.
Is that the year like they had Pedro,
Mark Grissom.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Was Tim Raines on that team then?
I can't remember if Tim Raines was or not, but like Moises Alou was on the team.
Yeah, they were loaded.
Larry Walker was on the team.
Yeah.
Like it was, And of course, then the strike happens, and
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
But I remember.
That's probably why they went on strike. They're like, are we really going to let a Canadian team be this good?
We can't let Montreal be this good. Right. Dominate everybody.
Like, the World Series champion has to be American. We can't let these guys win. And then they made up for it. They're like, Toronto just won not too long ago.
We can't have another Canadian.
Right? Strike. Just call strike.
Sorry, everybody, for being so good.
Yeah.
So good at baseball.
Guys, we'll lose if you want us to. Sorry.
So John comes in terrified over finding Sylvia's body. Axel says, Harry Warden's here. Tell everyone to get the poutine out.
Run for the hills.
TJ sends somebody to go get the chief as he and Axel go into the mine after Hollis and Sarah and the others.
They partner up.
Yes. Yeah, they team up.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Janetti and Michaels.
Let's do this together. I love the movie Pacific Rim, but there's a couple lines.
It's so cringe sometimes.
Yeah, so every time Patreon subscriber Melissa L and I have to do something together, like a task or something, we just turn to each other. Let's do this together.
Yeah, I also really enjoy Pacific Rim, but there are a few scenes that turn very like Power Ranger-esque.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Well said. It is very Power Ranger-y in a lot of ways, actually.
Yeah.
So we get a really cool shot of the killer stalking through the tunnels, kind of breaking light bulbs with his pickaxe at one point, and we're down in the mine at this point.
Yeah,
we're clearly in Act 3. Hollis is given the tour. Mike and Harriet say, "Yeah, we'll catch up with you in 10 minutes." I'm sure you will.
Yep.
Yeah. TJ goes in, and he and Axel had split up down there, so he ends up finding the other four: Sarah, Patty, Hollis, and Howard. Howard stays with the girls while Hollis and TJ go after Mike and Harriet in the engine room because, of course, they had wandered off to do things that you do in a slasher movie.
Right.
Hollis walks into the engine room and finds Mike on top of Harriet, as you would expect. However, they're both dead and impaled by a gigantic industrial drill press. Yeah, and it's something.
Yeah, it's exactly as you imagine it.
Yep. I wonder how the killer stuck up on him and turned on the drill press. Right. They must have really been hot and heavy.
It's an electric. Very, very environmentally conscious in this mine. In this mine,
yes. In the strip mine.
Trying to reduce our carbon footprint in the mine.
Yeah. The killer is still in the room. He ends up shooting Hollis twice in the head, but not with an ordinary gun, with a nail gun.
Yeah, and we see it, and it's like How the first one didn't take him down, I don't know.
Well, again, it doesn't kill him right away. It
Right.
it like stuns him more than anything else. And so he just kind of stumbles off. And a moment later, we cut back to Howard and the two girls, and Hollis just ends up stumbling up and then just falls dead
Right.
at Howard's feet. And Howard ends up just running off. He just takes off.
Yeah, it just bails on the girls.
Yeah, so just leaves Patty and Sarah behind. And Patty starts freaking out because it's her boyfriend that just fell dead. And so Sarah just, boom, just smacks her.
To be fair, she did try to reason with her quite a bit.
Yeah, she tried.
And eventually...
It wasn't just, hold still, I'm going to lay the smack at the down.
Eventually pulled a Mr. Green on her from Clue. Well, she had to stop screaming.
Mr. Green. We make a lot of Clue references.
It's because it's one of my top 5 favorite movies. I love that movie.
I love Clue growing up. Axel emerges and tries to escape with Patty and Sarah. So Axel shows up on the scene. So he and Patty and Sarah are starting to make their way out.
Mm-hmm.
We get a cool shot of Axel and the two girls kind of walking towards the camera up one mine shaft, and TJ coming up another.
Yeah, cool angle of. Just where those two shafts intersect.
Yeah. And Axel ends up kind of like, he picks up like a big log that's down there, like a big like 4x4, and just smacks TJ with it. Thinking he was Harry Warden.
Fair.
So the four of them, they get to their senses and they end up getting to the elevator shaft, but the controls have been smashed, of course. So the four begin climbing. They just climb the ladder. They're hundreds of feet down.
Oh yeah.
At this point, so they start climbing this ladder. Patty's struggling because again she's just distraught at this point.
Axel is first.
Yes,
and then it's Axel, Patty, Sarah, and TJ.
Yeah,
definitely want to make sure TJ was the one following Sarah up, as they're all wearing skirts.
Oh, TJ,
yeah.
They teach you nothing on the West Coast.
That's what they taught him on the West Coast.
So as they're climbing, Howard's corpse falls down with a noose around his neck. I love
this kill.
So it just falls with a noose around his neck. And do you think he was dead first?
I think so.
I thought he was dead first.
Yeah.
But regardless, his body falls with a noose around his neck, and you get the impression it probably fell at several stories.
Yeah.
And so when the tension hits, it pops his head off.
And it's not only, it's 1981. I've never seen that happen in a movie.
Yeah.
Before or after. Like never, like, it's like horror movies take such pride in, look, there's a hanging body. They're hung. But yeah, you're right. Like that rope, all the slack's gone.
Yeah.
The body, the inertia, just boom. The body wants to continue. The head can't, pops it clean off. Oh, it's so sweet.
The head continues to dangle in the noose as the body falls below.
The girls get sprayed with blood.
Yes. As I put it, as I put the sweet in my notes before, I put cool in all caps.
It's such a cool death scene.
Yeah.
Whether he's dead or not, but it's just a cool,
yeah,
graphic violence here.
So they end up heading back down.
Then they cut back as the camera's now at the bottom of the ladder as we catch the body falling the rest of the way.
Yes, yeah.
Just thud.
Boom. Yeah.
And again, any other film is going to watch that body almost hit and then cut away from it. Not this one.
Oh,
like it's just boom. You see it bounce, and then we go back to see what everyone else is doing.
We get a John Madden. Boom.
Exactly. Tough acted.
Tough acted.
We didn't want anybody confused as to what happened to the rest of his body.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Where were we? So we got the body falling. They end up climbing back down, and they try to go to the rail cars, which was how they got down in the first place. They end up having to head through an area that's flooding. So the camera lingers with TJ and the girls while Axel goes ahead, and we don't see it happen, but we hear Axel kind of cry out like he's been attacked.
Right.
We hear a splash, and then TJ kind of scurries out after him, and all we see is Axel's light helmet just descending in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's
Axel's
like a broken 2x4.
Yeah. Axel's gone, so it's just TJ and the girls left. So the three continue on, but somehow get separated from TJ. The killer ends up emerging from the dark and drives his pickaxe right into Patty's belly.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like he's speaking of Frank Thomas,
Yeah.
he's swinging for the fences here.
Yeah, I think the killer had a over a 1,000 OPS.
Right? Yeah, yeah. He didn't miss this fastball.
No, he got all of that one. Bo Jackson's at 480 feet later.
Yeah.
A bloody TJ again emerges to Sarah. They get in the mine car and jump on. The killer jumps on too. But meanwhile, up top, the chief and basically like a local militia,
right?
Have arrived and have started descending down into the mine on foot, down the minecart tunnel. So TJ is using a shovel to fight off the killer and his pickaxe. All three end up tumbling off the cart, and they keep intensely fighting.
Yeah,
with the axe and the shovel. Sarah ends up ripping the killer's mask off, and it's Axel. Oz.
It's Axel.
It's been Axel the whole time. We get a quick flashback to a young Axel who had actually witnessed his father brutally killed by the real Harry Warden.
Yeah, his dad was the former mayor. Yeah, that, like you said, was one of the people that allowed the dance to go on, and that hence is being killed.
Yeah. So the flashback stunned Axel. I think somehow he saw it move as well. He saw the cutaway. So it stunned him for a second, just long enough for TJ to pick up a big rock and hit him with it, allowing he and Sarah to escape. They ended up in kind of like a little side room, sort of. And in the meantime, the mayor, the chief, and the others arrive. And this room has kind of collapsed on itself as they were fighting. Like they were accidentally knocking down like pillars and support.
Yeah, beams. It was definitely like the old part of the mine that they even referenced it at one point. We should go down there. Oh, no. That part of the mine's off limits.
That's the old part of the mine. You don't want to go down there. So they arrive. The chief reveals he had gotten a call earlier that the real Harry Warden died 5 years ago. So they had figured out in the meantime, this isn't Harry. This is something else going on. The militia finds Axel still alive, trapped underneath the rubble, but we only see his arm sticking out. He's so far, he's just so buried by everything that had happened. And Sarah ends up turning around. She's like, I got to see this through. Yeah. So she runs back, grabs Axel's arm, his free arm that's out. And while she's holding the arm, he kind of grips her arm even tighter and screams out, Harry, I'm coming. As he saws that arm off, he uses his arm that we don't see to saw off the trapped arm.
Right.
So
it's Sarah, like 147 hours or 127 hours.
I could have included that here. 127 hours. So Sarah ends up kind of falling back with the arm that he sawed off of himself. And we just hear Axel like, this whole town's gonna die. Sarah, be my Valentine.
As he's running into the part of the mine you don't go into.
Yeah. And we cut to credits.
Yeah, that's it.
We cut to credits, and we hear this kind of weird, odd, fun little folk song.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, but again, just that attention to detail.
Yeah,
love it.
Oh, this is such a great movie. Any other final thoughts you have before we move on?
Not really. Other than just it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I just coming back to it. I knew who the killer was, but I forgot about a lot of the kills. So like bringing that in, it was like. It's just a fun movie. Yeah. Like
this, I think this is one of the best movies we've done in a while.
Yeah,
especially with it being like a low budget, Nova Scotian produced.
Right, it's like no actors. Of any credit either before or after. Like there's just people, and it's like good for you.
Yeah. So hey, at this point, Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about, 1981's My Bloody Valentine. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 14 disembodied hearts.
14 disembodied hearts.
What are you giving it?
I'm going to go with 100 boiling hot dogs.
Oh, thank you. That'll be easy to find.
Hopefully that'll take it easy on you this week. Next up, Oz and I have scoured the interwebs searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well in our next comedy segment, Outside Insights. Oz, what is your outside insight?
All right, my outside insight, as always, comes from Amazon, from Ben30.
Is that any relation to Ben Folds 5?
No, but it is the grandfather of Ben 10. That
there
cartoon.
You go.
Yeah.
Ben Folds was actually on last night's Stephen Colbert, just playing with the house band.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Ben Folds.
Every once in a while, like they just have a guest musician who doesn't perform like as a guest in the show, but is just there to be part of the house band. And it was Ben Folds of all people.
Huh.
So yeah.
So, the title of this review is A Slasher Film That Insults Valentine's Day. Very funny. Valentine's Day is overrated in my opinion, so why not have an 80s slasher horror film that makes fun of Valentine's Day? Which I find funny. This film was released in cinemas 1981, the same year many other slasher films were released. Halloween 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, The Prowler, Final Exam, and others. Whew, there's no periods in here. Not my favorite slasher horror film, that's for sure. Probably down the bottom of the list. Plot related anyway. 4 out of 5.
It clearly is not the equal of such luminary horror films like Halloween 2. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, not my favorite, that's for sure. Probably down the bottom of the list. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Guy loves horror.
Every other genre is 3 tops.
It's boiling hot dog water is what it is.
That's boiling hot dog water.
So what's your outside insight?
Mine, as always, comes from the Internet Movie Database. It is a 1 out of 10. I know, in November of 2007 from Bottle Gnome 255. This is one of the, with is in caps, this is one of the worst films ever made. The acting is so horrible, I would rather get hit by a speeding car than watch this again. I wouldn't be surprised if any of the production staff killed themselves out of shame. This movie is so bad, it's not even worth being reviewed. I just feel like venting my anger at how I lost 2 hours of my precious time watching this abomination.
Wow.
This person has pretty strong feelings about My Bloody Valentine.
And do not consider this a review. This movie isn't worth reviewing.
No, it's not worth reviewing.
Dear Diary.
So don't read this review. Dear Abby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would rather get hit by a speeding car than review this film, which is what I'm going to do.
I will be upset if that car is obeying the speed limits. You must be speeding.
All right, whatever.
Yeah, all right, man.
Yep. All right, hey, folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for, the Let's Talk About Flicks signature segment, the 3, 2, 1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and just one about this week's movie, My Bloody Valentine. Oz, my friend, what are your 3 goods?
My first one is that Valentine's Bluff just had atmosphere. Like,
yes.
I won't go as far to say that the town was a character in the movie, but
sure.
It just it felt lived in. It felt like, let's film a movie in this town, not let's create a town to film a movie in. And like Hollywood would do, like Back to the Future is all right there on Warner Brothers lot or Universal's lot, whatever. So so that's my first one. Is this town had atmosphere? It felt like a downtown.
Yeah.
My second is just kind of how Canadian everything is. It's like you've got this love triangle, but even the guys that are supposed to hate each other have a little bit of respect for each other,
Sorry,
and it's just,
took your girl.
Exactly. You were one of my favorite people. But it's just still like there's enough Canadian in the movie, especially in the dialogue, that it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. And third, we've talked about it all show. Just the kills are great. Like, just that extra attention to detail. What can we do with this death to push it a little further over the top and without being distasteful? It's not like a Terrifier movie where it's like way overboard. This is just fun. Like you said, sweet, cool. Like, it's just gross. Like, to show this, it's not insulting, but to show it to someone, they'd just be like, ew. And it's like, yeah, that's the proper reaction to a lot of this stuff. So those are my 3 goods. What do you got?
Those are great, my friend. I'm going to start with, let's go. I honestly, the performances. Again, as you said before, there was no actors who we really heard about.
Yeah, no one of note.
Or after this. I thought the acting in this movie was pretty good.
No, I agree.
I thought it was really good. Especially the guy who played TJ Paul Kelman. I'm going back to the Wikipedia page, and several of the actors have their own Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the lead doesn't.
Really?
Paul Kelman does not have his own Wikipedia page, and I thought he gave a great performance.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, like the guy who played the sheriff was great. I even thought the actress who played Sarah was great. Some of the supporting, like that guy who did Hollis was good enough. Yeah, was it Patty? His girlfriend was fine.
Yeah,
she gave a fun little performance. With that, there was a scene where she and Sarah are walking, and she's like, "I got a dress that goes down to here and goes up to here." Like she sold it like like a 19-year-old would. Like
It just, I agree, 100%.
The performances really worked in this little movie. My second one, let's go with. God, there's so many good ones to pick from. You really kind of empathize with TJ, and like he's disappointed in himself. Whatever happened on the West Coast clearly didn't work, and he knows he lost Sarah, so he's just full of regret and full of anger.
And he's not mad at her.
No,
and he's not mad at Axel.
He's taking it out on Axel, but he's mad at himself.
Well, Axel's being a jerk to him. He's just kind of rubbing his face in it. But like TJ's he's hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, I empathized with the TJ character. Mm-hmm. It was just again. And my last one, and I mentioned this before, just Happy's his gag that he set up, his prank, with the pickaxe.
Yeah.
He just he set the pickaxe up on his spring, and he's so proud of himself.
Oh, very proud.
He opens the door, the pickaxe swings up, and then he closes it. And then he opens it.
Yeah, I gotta see it again.
And then he closes it. And he opens it again.
These kids are gonna love it.
And he does that like 4 times. And then the real killer shows up. Oh, it was so fun.
Oh, it was fun.
I don't know if they intended that to be funny or not, but it works so well.
Yeah, and it didn't take you out of the movie. It was just funny.
No, and you knew something was gonna happen, but it's just kind of like when and how, and then the real killer shows up and boom, that pickaxe up through his
well,
jaw.
and I think a scene like that works because of how well that actor played Happy.
Yeah,
like at the bar, he was he was everything but happy.
Yeah,
and so then when you see him in a joyous moment, we actually kind of feel for him. Yeah. Like, go get yours, man. Yeah. Like, you hate these kids, you hate this town, like. Go have some fun at their expense, because he's not going to hurt anybody.
No,
it's just going to until they hurt him. But but it's like, yeah, I agree with you. I like that.
Happy
scene.
The harbinger. It was a night just like tonight. Worst accident I ever saw.
Gulp.
When they pulled the body from the wreckage. What are your 2 bads?
Had to get a little nitpicky on this one.
Yep.
The amount of time in the mines for Act 3 was long.
Yeah.
Not too long, but because they stayed active, there were things to do. But it's like once the party went literally underground, it just you knew you were there to stay. There was no reason to come out of it, and so it just. You went from this atmospheric town where you've got the tavern, you've got the laundromat, you've got the community center, like you've got these places that actually feel authentic and lived in. Mm-hmm. And then you remove us from that and take us underground for just darkness, and granted, they did film in a legit mine, but it's still like all this running around. So that's my first bad, is just that Act 3 time in the mine is just extended was all.
Yeah.
And my second one, which kind of goes along with that, is just that very final scene of the, Sarah, be my Valentine, as he runs away. And it's like, it was just weak. Like everything else was just so strong. And this felt like, we better get this movie over with, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
we're talking like the last 15 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're not talking anything beyond that. Once he cuts his arm off and they like look through the rocks at him, just that part was like, yeah, you're going to bleed out, Axel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. you're going to die. But kudos to you for not making a sound while you cut your own hand off.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 2 bads. Again, all within the last 15 seconds
Yeah.
and then, prior, but
Yeah.
not too bad. What do you got?
I'll start with, this is not one of my official bads, but once again, I watched the beginning of this movie in a local coffee shop, and the opening scene, they didn't show anything.
No, they didn't.
But there's the sexy time between the miners, and the one gets down to a bra, and so I'm doing the like covering my phone,
which draws more attention to what you're doing than anything.
I'm not looking at boobs,
guys. Don't worry,
I'm not.
She has a bra, and it's okay.
It's okay. So my two real bads. My first one is just the MPAA being wieners about the whole thing. Yeah. They were paranoid because the John Lennon assassination and Friday the 13th had come out a year earlier, and people responded to that. And,
right.
It just that footage they put back in is so great, and it's
not
like it was lengthy or anything.
No, but it really did change the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
When you remove all of the gore, like all of the violent, gory death scene.
Yeah.
They removed them all. Like outside of her getting shoved onto that pickaxe, that even may have been. I don't remember if that was kind of grainy or not, but yeah, it really changes the tone of the movie.
Yeah. So that's my first bad, MPAA being wieners. My second bad is naming two very similar characters, Hollis and Howard. I had trouble telling them apart.
Yeah, I'm glad that they physically looked much different.
Yeah. But they were almost always together until Act 3.
Right.
And that's when I was able to finally tease them apart. Okay, that one's
Hollis,
and
that one's Howard. Yeah.
Howard. And they were both kind of goofball characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my other bad. Just naming two characters, two male characters.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, start with the letter H, two letter name, start with the letter H.
Fair enough.
Yep. All right, hey, what's your
why would anyone drink at a bar with Happy as the bartender? Like, I'm granted they all have a sense of humor, which works, but ultimately, like, such a downer place to relax.
Yeah.
So that's my It's like, why would you drink at Happy's bar? He's awful.
I gotta feel like it's probably the only place in town.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it was a tongue-in-cheek of course, but it's like, it's just such a miserable person.
Yeah.
Which then, if you have a sense of humor about it, is only going to make him even more miserable.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get under your skin, and it's not working. So
opens the door. Ha!
So that's my What do you got?
My is why is Patty so excited to see a mine?
While living in a mining town.
I know, right? Like it's not like,
ooh, take us down there.
Yeah, take us into the mine. Take us 2,000 feet below the surface of the earth.
This party's boring. Let's go downstairs where they've already bored.
Yeah, let's go see if the canary's still alive.
Right, let's check that out. So
it's just, why is she so excited? I had another possible one as well. How old is Hollis? Right, we already talked about that. And then how is this movie only at a 6.2 on IMDb?
I don't know.
What was like Resident Evil is like a 6.6 or something?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe people have a hard time getting their hands on the director's cut.
Maybe.
Like, because I could see without those extra scenes, it would probably be a pretty stale movie.
Maybe they just don't get the humor in the happy scene.
Right. Maybe not.
So. All right, hey, well, that's My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Also begat the name, as we mentioned, as we teased at the end of last week, begat the name of one of my favorite bands. Great band, My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, so good stuff this week.
Yeah, well, next week we are going to come back with another fun movie.
2007's Trick or Treat, the horror anthology celebrating all things Halloween, starring Dylan Baker, Anna Paquin, and the chubby kid from Bad Santa.
Social media wise, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Hit those shorts to microdose what we're doing here. Patreon link down below if you'd like to throw that in as well.
Yeah, send us a holiday wish.
There you go.
Subscribing to Patreon.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's the gift that keeps giving.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All year long. It's like Jelly of the Month Club.
Jelly of the Bud.
So, but for another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.